Hello my fellow freaks, it's Exequie, and today I am going to be filming the long-awaited My Journey to Hyperianism video. I'm sorry it's been a long time. I know I said I would film it days ago, but me not filming it when I originally said it would be done gave me a chance to ask you guys to send me questions on Instagram, which you guys did, and I have them written down here on my little Hyperion journal, where I draw and write a bunch of stuff that's obviously Hyperionism related. And so I will be answering those few questions as part of a mini Q&A at the end of this video. Now, one thing I want to say before I finish is that, sorry if you can hear that music outside. I have, I believe someone in the apartment next to me plays like the trumpet or something, so that's what you're hearing. This person practices almost every day, and I can hear them from my apartment because the way that the sounds echo around here is ridiculous. So excuse me, I hope that does not distract you from the video, because I did a few takes of this video before where he wasn't playing. He must have just started, but I started to have issues with my phone because I'm recording on my phone, and I had to literally clean out my phone, delete my photos and videos, and put them on my computer and save them there because I don't have much space left. So, and my digital camera is a little bit hard. The one that I have now, I'm planning on getting a new one, but the one I have now is a little bit hard to record video on. That's why I use that one for my photo shoots. Like, I use it for photography because it's too difficult to record video on, because it doesn't have a microphone to play back on the actual camera, so I can't hear the audio and see if it's loud enough. And then there's just some other stuff that, like the background noise is super loud on that other camera, so if anything in my house is making noise, even if it's not in my room where I am right now, you guys will hear it in the video. And plus, the camera makes its own weird noise when I'm trying to record video with it, so I just didn't want to take you guys through that, or else I would have just used my digital camera to record this, because I was having so much trouble with my phone today, which is why this video is going up kind of late instead of the time that I meant for it to initially go up. So I just had to explain that. I'm sorry this is a long-ass intro. I will be placing some Hyperianism material and info down below of some websites and some groups and all kinds of stuff, because that's the topic of this video, Hyperianism, and my journey to it, obviously. So the resources for anyone curious will be below, along with my personal social medias. If you guys want to follow me, friend me, whatever, it'll be down there. And so I'm just going to get right into it, because from what I can see on my phone, it's already been 3 minutes, and all I've done is the intro. So, I guess I'll start from when I was very young, because that is really where my journey to Hyperionism actually began. So ever since I was a little girl, I grew up in a very religious Christian household, to be exact. And so, just growing up, I faced a lot of obstacles, a lot of struggles, a lot of challenges, whatever you want to call them. I faced them all, pretty much. I mean, I was forced to go to church every Sunday. My mom fought against me taking sex ed class in elementary, but I still got to. That's, I was successful in getting that done for myself, because I feel like that's the first thing. I really feel like sex is not a dirty thing like a lot of parents think. And I see this especially with religious parents who try to keep their kids away from anything involving sex when they're growing up. They even don't want them to learn about it. They'd rather their kid be completely uneducated about something they feel is negative or dirty, rather than their kid be fully informed. But they don't realize that kids are more likely to make mistakes about these things when you do not teach them about it. Like, my mom didn't want the teachers at my school speaking to me about this stuff, because she felt like it was a parent's place, but at the same time, she didn't want to tell me anything about it. And I pretty much learned most of what I know about sex, on my own. And then when she finally decided to talk to me about it, I knew most of what I needed to know already, because I went out there and I did it for myself. Because I honestly thought she'd never teach me. And I've done a lot of stuff like that where I reached out and I just did my own research because I was so bounded growing up from learning anything that could have been of use to me in my adult life. Going down that same rabbit hole, if you will, still involving sex. When you guys are probably going to think this is funny, but also when I was very young, my mom tried to get me to get a purity ring, but I fought against that as well. I just think those are absolutely ridiculous. A ring is not going to stop you from having sex. It's a piece of jewelry. I didn't think there was any point behind that. So I fought against it, and I was successful at that as well. So not only did I get to take sex ed class, but I also didn't have to get a purity ring. So it's all good. And you know, I went through two of the sacraments as well. If you don't know what the sacraments are, they are ceremonies that happen within the Christian or Catholic faith, such as baptism, First Communion, and confirmation. Now, confirmation is the one that I didn't get done because, once again, I fought against it as I was growing up, because the thing with me, ever since I was a little girl, I knew religion wasn't for me. It was just a deep feeling that I had always had, that it just wasn't the path that I wanted to follow. But, you know, a thing that they push in the Christian faith is to obey your parents, and that's why a lot of kids, especially in the Christian or Catholic faith, feel like they don't have a choice but to follow in their parents' footsteps and become a part of that religion. I mean, my mother actually converted. She wasn't even Christian/Catholic. She used to belong to a Baptist church when she was growing up, and then she converted. So chances are I still would have been religious anyway, because she still would have pushed me into it. Just a different kind of religious. So yeah, I just felt like I needed to give you some of my experiences before I move on to talking about the Hyperianism part. So there's just one more thing that I want to talk about, and that is sexuality. Also, another challenge growing up that I had was I'm a bisexual woman, and I've known since I was in like elementary to junior high, I've known what I am. And I felt like I couldn't come out because my household was swarming with religion. I felt like I could not come out without, you know, being abused in some way. Even if it was just verbally. I feel like that would have been very damaging. But once I got into my late teens, I had already come out to my friends, and it went perfectly well. And I was like, you know what? One day I got home from school and I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this. So I decided to come out because I was like, I'm sick of hiding it. I'm sick of running away. I'm sick of being scared that my religion is going to attack my life. I'm sick and tired of this fear. I'm beyond fear. I'm better than this, and I don't deserve to be shackled, and I don't deserve to be, you know, forbidden to be who I am. So I came out to my mom finally. And to my surprise, it actually went well. And I just feel like I'm really lucky because, of course, there was a big chance that it wouldn't have gone well. So I guess I just got lucky there. So those are just some of the challenges that I faced growing up because of my religion. And now we're going to talk about me moving away from it and starting to become Hyperion. So after all that, years later, I'm watching TV, and I stumble upon Freak Show, and of course Morg, who is the herald of the Hyperion Age, was on Freak Show, and that is how I discovered him. And I believe that's one of my questions, which I'll get to at the end, but like I'll go more in depth at the end of this video about the questions. But I discovered him from that show, so I didn't know him beforehand. I discovered him on the show, and I just could tell that he was a very deep person, and I've always been a very deep person, aside from all the struggles I faced with religion trying to constrict me as a young person, or younger, because I'm still young. I'm 23. So as a young person, or younger person, despite all those struggles, I still started to veer farther and farther away from religion. And so I feel like Morg came into my life at the perfect time because I really did need something like that to happen. And so that's perfect. And yeah, eventually, the more Freak Show went on, I realized how deep of a person he was, and I was so intrigued and I was so curious about what his message was. And then I started all my social medias, and I started to get hooked up with Morg and other people that shared his beliefs, or his knowledge, I should say. Not really beliefs, because Hyperianism is not a belief system, it's a knowledge system. So other people that shared his knowledge about this beautiful system that I hadn't heard of before. And Hyperianism has been around for a long, long, long time. Morg is not the first one to be a Hyperion, but he's the first one to spread it around in this day and age. And so, yes, I really do appreciate that him and his presence and him bringing this to all of us, because a lot of us needed it. This isn't just about me. A lot of us needed Hyperionism because of the way we grew up and we were trying to get away from it. So a lot of us did indeed need it. So, yeah, I discovered Morg, and then, he started to come out with books that were all amazing, and YouTube videos. I'll put his channel down below. His YouTube videos are amazing. They involve philosophy and mathematics, and because we Hyperions use a mathematical system called ontological mathematics, and I picked it up pretty fast. I mean, math was never my best subject, but I was always better at complicated math, which is another reason that kind of led me to believe that I was meant for better things than what I had been involved in when I was younger, or what I had been forced into when I was younger. I knew that I was beyond and above all that stuff. And yeah, Hyperionism has woken me up, or awakened me, whatever is the right way to say that, and show me things I haven't seen before. And I just really appreciate the fact that it exists. I really do need that in my life. I've been able to start on the journey to becoming the person that I've always wanted to be because of Hyperionism. So it is very important, and yeah, it's near and dear to my heart. And yeah, so is Morg, because he brought this to us, and it's important. A lot of people want to say that Hyperionism is just another form of religion, and like we worship Morg and he's like our god and everything, but those people have it wrong. Why? Because one, Hyperionism's not a religion. Two, we don't worship any god. We don't believe in any god. So you can't say that we feel like Morg is our god, because that's not the case. He's the messenger. He brought Hyperionism to us, but that doesn't mean that we worship him. We just appreciate him and his presence and what he has brought to us, because it helped a lot of us live better lives. The lives that we always wanted to live, that we thought were not possible at one point. That is why it's important. So, yeah, those are more of like my personal journey and like personal views on Hyperionism, like how I feel about it and what it's done for me. Some of the things it's done for me, it's done so much that it's like I'm unable to count how many things it's done for me so far, and I'm sure it'll do many more things for me in the future, which is amazing. But yeah, those are the main points that I wanted to touch on. Sorry. Yeah, it was just really something that was needed. That's the best way I can describe it. I was leaving something that I had been brainwashed to believe. I was leaving something that I got to know so well because it was literally engraved in my head against my will. And it can be hard And it can even feel unstable to leave something like that after a while. But Hyperianism gave me structure and stability that I needed after leaving something that I had gotten so used to. Even if it was something that I didn't make a choice to join in the first place, it was still something I got used to. And whenever you leave something you get used to, you're a little wobbly at first, but then you get used to whatever you read, like whatever you go to after that. And so one other point, now that I've talked about all that, before I move into my Q&A, one final point that I'd like to make is that a lot of people ask me, hey, you don't believe in God, right? And I'm like, no, I don't. And then they ask me, okay, so why do you call yourself a Hyperion? Why don't you ever say you're an atheist? Now here is what I say about that. I do tell some people I'm an atheist, but only when I really have to dumb down Hyperianism do I say that word. I want to make it a point to as many people as I can that I'm a Hyperion, so they will ask me about Hyperianism so I can teach them as much as I can about the system that I follow. You know, I want to make it a point to those people that ask that it's not a religion, because it's very important to understand that, you know? So, I say I'm a Hyperion as much as I possibly can, but at the same time, when I say that, I do make it a thing to tell people it's not a religion, and I don't believe in God. You're right about that. But just because I left my original religion doesn't mean I go to another religion. People think that if you were religious before, that the only other place you can go is to convert to another religion, and that's not true. You can drop religion altogether like I did, and like all Hyperions have done. Some Hyperions didn't have a religion to begin with, and some of us did, and we just went to Hyperianism and dropped our old religion behind us, where it belongs. But yes, I do make it a thing to try not to say that I'm an atheist too much, because I want them to know about Hyperianism. And if I just say, I'm an atheist, I'm an atheist, I'm an atheist all the time, they're never going to know about the Hyperianism part. That's as far as it's going to go. And I want the conversation to go farther than I'm someone that doesn't believe in God. Because there's much more to Hyperianism than not believing in any God. We ourselves are gods and goddesses, so we do not need a higher power. We ourselves are higher powers of our own lives. We don't need to worship or to bow down to something else. There's no such thing as God. God isn't real. We are God. We are the universe. That is just one big element of Hyperianism, along with a bunch of other stuff. So, I'm at the 18-minute mark now of my video, so I think now that I've explained that final point that I wanted to get out of the way about why I don't call myself an atheist unless I'm talking to someone that really doesn't understand me. Now that I've talked about that, I want to move into my questions that I got. There's 5 here that I have in my Hyperion journal. I don't have the best handwriting because I'm so used to typing things out, but I did it well enough so that I can read these for you guys. So these are from my Instagram followers, so I'll make sure to shout them out. Melinda Mayhem sent me the most questions. She's one of my friends on Instagram. So I'll start by reading all of her questions, and then I'll move to 2 other users that I got questions from. So her first question was, when did you discover Morg, and what was your first impression of him? So as I said earlier in the video, I first discovered him when I first watched Freak Show. There's a funny story behind the first time I watched Freak Show, but I'm not going to talk about that now because it's just funny. And this video isn't meant to be funny. But, yes, I discovered Morg when I first watched Freak Show. And my first impression of him, as I believe I said earlier as well, was that he was a really deep individual. And since I have always been a really deep individual, despite all my struggles growing up, I really connected to that. And I really loved that. And I really was intrigued and interested by how deep he was, and I wanted to learn more, so I'm glad I got to. So there's the answer to that question. I was just really impressed with him overall, from the beginning, not just because of the stunts, or him being a shock artist, but because of how deep of an individual he was. That always impresses me in another individual. If they can be deep, that really does impress me, and he definitely could be. Even back on a reality show, he still managed to to be very deep, which I really appreciated. Okay. So another question from Melinda was, what do you think of Morg's work? Well, overall, I think his work is amazing, whether you're talking about the sideshow part of his work, or his books, or his YouTube videos. I'll put his YouTube channel below, and Hyperianism.com, which is the main website for Hyperianism. I'll put that all below. But I think his work across the board is just amazing. It really is. It's an inspiration. 3. This one is from Juan Grisanti, 7302. I hope I'm saying that right. Has Hyperianism affected your relationships with other people? Yes, is the short answer. It definitely has. I've had people call me names for being a Hyperion. And it's, for most people that have gotten on me about it, have been people I used to go to church with when I was still religious back in the day, or, just people that think that it's just a phase that I left my religion. There are people that have said even to me, to my face, oh, it's just a phase. You're gonna come back. Guess what? No, I'm not. That's so annoying. So yeah, I'd say that my relationship with those people has been affected, but I'm not blaming that on myself. I'm blaming it on them because they can't see that I've changed for the better, and that this was an evolution into my true self. And that is what it's going to continue to be. I'm striving to become my best self. I have no time for people that focus so hard on who I used to be. That's the best way I can put that. So yes, again, short answer, yes, it has affected my relationship with some people, but I keep the ones around that have not been affected by my personal choices that I've made. See, me growing up in religion wasn't my choice. At least joining Hyperianism was my choice. If I'm going to join something, I want it to be my choice. That's the thing. I love making my own choices. It's a part of being independent, so it's important to make your own choices. Especially if you're an adult. You shouldn't feel bounded by anybody else to not make your own choices. So I just drop anybody that has a problem with me for my Hyperianism stance and everything. Or my involvement in Hyperianism, I should say. Anybody that's got a problem with that, I don't keep them in my life. But has it affected my relationships with people? Yes, it has. But it doesn't matter at the end of it, because I don't keep those people around. Okay, so there. What was your life like before Hyperianism? One word, limiting. That was from Melinda again, by the way. I forgot to tell you guys. Yeah, limiting. It was the main word I'd use to describe how my life was before Hyperianism. It was hell. It really was. Now it isn't, which is amazing, but, yeah. Very constricting, very limiting. I wasn't my own person. I was being forced to be somebody else's kind of person. Not myself. And so I had to get away from it. And then the final question is from Enis Elena, another one of my followers. And it is, what was your first reaction to Hyperianism? Sorry about the plane. I'm sure you guys can hear that. Planes fly over my apartment all the time, so please excuse me for that. But, what was my first reaction to Hyperianism? My first reaction to Hyperianism was that it's quite a complex and interesting system, but I've always been interested in complex and interesting things. And deep things. Being a deep individual myself, I'm interested in stuff like that, so I was like, let's do it. That's the best way I can describe it. I just felt like it was the perfect system for me to be a part of when I first discovered it. And I'm not the type of person that's usually so comfortable with something when I first discover it, but I was with Hyperianism, which is how I knew it was perfect for me. Because that was the first time I had an experience where I was completely comfortable with something that I had just discovered. Like I said before, that never happens to me. So I knew it was the right thing for me based on that. Okay, so that was the last question. Thank you to everybody that sent me questions, and don't worry, I will be allowing you guys to ask me questions for my next 2 videos. My next one will be about self-love, and the one after that will be about censorship. I'm going to put a vote on my Instagram, which again will be down below along with all my other social medias, and info about Hyperianism. I'm going to put all that down below, because on my Instagram, I'll be asking you guys to send me questions for my next 2 videos, and I'll be posting a vote to ask you guys if you want a video about censorship, even though I know it was requested before. I want to make sure you guys are still interested in it, even though I really desperately feel like I need to talk about it, because I am somebody that gets censored a lot online. You know, or has to censor myself so that I don't get kicked off of social media, because I want my message out there. But I don't want a condensed message of mine out there. I want the full message. So we'll talk about that more in depth if you guys decide you want that video. Go to my Instagram, and you can, like, I'll have a poll up there tonight about whether or not that you guys want that after my self-love video, which will be the next one. That one I'll probably upload tomorrow, if I have time, because I have a photo shoot tomorrow. I'm going to be doing a photo shoot. So, if I have time, I will put that one up. I'm sorry this video is so long. I feel like I'm rambling, but I was gone from YouTube for a while, so I kind of want to make longer videos and sit here with you guys because it's fun. And this subject was very important, so I'm glad I got to make a video about it, okay? So, again, I think that's it. So all my info will be down below. And remember, guys, you make your own choices. Your life is your life. You're not living your life for anybody else. You're living your life for you. You have to be strong and be true to yourself. And if you ever feel like you're beyond what you're stuck in the middle of, it's because you are. And I had to learn that, and it's important that you all learn that as well. So please check out Hyperianism.com if this sounded like something you'd be interested in. We're all about logic, reason, and mathematics, and a bunch of other stuff, which you can find on the website. And you can buy more books on the website as well, because there's a store or a shop section on the website where all of his books are stored, so you can buy them. And also, there's a free ebook version of like a basics guide to Hyperianism that's also on there, called the Unity document. I have it on my phone, my Kindle app, so you can get it if you have the Kindle app, the free ebook, and there's physical copies as well, which will be on Hyperianism.com in the store section. So yeah, I think that's everything. Thank you so much for watching this video. I love all you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.